So in this video, we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so Bronco.
Yep.
A lot of Bronco stuff. Of course, TFLbids, right?
Yep.
TFLbids.com and the VW that we're selling.
For sure. Yeah, it should be a fun show.
Yeah, welcome guys to the TFLbids.com live show.
Yeah, so here at TFL Studios, once a week, we host a live show to answer your questions, talk about what's been going on. A lot been going on. Andre and I just drove the Bronco, and we're going to sell some vehicles. And unfortunately today, we are selling my baby, which is just horrible.
Yes, it's been on the auction at TFLbids.com. It's the VW Touareg. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, so we did a series around a 2004 Volkswagen. We called it the Tough T Series. It was a car I was pushing for quite some time, and we found one 2 years ago. It's been one of the longest vehicles we've owned, because typically people get bored of the cars and then...
And we sell it in a year or something.
And we get bored of them, but this has been the one that we've had for the longest time. It's been pretty much darn near bulletproof. It's done everything I could have asked for at off-road, on-road. I'm just like... It took a lot of convincing of my dad to let us sell this car, and I would have bought this car. I was considering bidding on it, but I just took delivery of my new vehicle, and I can't afford to have both.
Can we talk about your new...
I want to show it in a second, but before we do, can we address the elephants in the room?
What?
What's that?
The wardrobe choice.
The shirts?
I'm sure the viewers would love to hear all about that.
So I was coming to the office this morning, and I said, I want this shirt. It feels good, and then I saw Tommy at the office.
Yes.
So there's no explanation.
There's no explanation for it. No, we kind of.
We're the team. We're a team.
Yeah. We kind of look like tow truck drivers today. You know, like
because we did some towing.
We did some cool towing today.
Oh look, Roman gave me a shirt.
You just kind of drape it over your front. You'll cover up your mic though.
Let's see. There you go.
I'll sit like this for the rest of the show.
That's too funny. I like that. Just in case, gave us $5. Thank you, sir.
Oh,
Love
dude.
the live shows. Hope you all buy a Bronco First Edition. We're working on it. We're really trying.
It's hard.
It's freaking hard because they're just not building enough of them right now.
Yeah, they're basically sold out. Yeah.
Did you guys hear the latest news on that?
What's the news, Zach?
So the latest news is per dealer email to prospective Ford Bronco buyers, that if you buy a white contrast hardtop or a color-coded hardtop, your order could potentially get pushed back into the 2023
I did hear that.
model year.
Yes.
So right now, if you're looking to buy, especially a four-door Bronco with a hardtop, you're pretty much stuck with carbonized gray. I believe I'm correct in saying, for the time being.
So yes, the news is certain configurations of the hardtop are delayed until 2023 on the Bronco.
That's crazy. Why can't they paint a hardtop?
I don't get it.
Okay, I don't know.
That's the issue. Ford suppliers.
There's probably way too complicated of an answer for that.
Yeah.
But actually, our friends at 5-Star Tuning, they ordered the white top Bronco, and they had this problem also.
So apparently you can change your order though. If you had like a hard top Bronco, they gave you the option to switch to a soft top Bronco so you can get your vehicle sooner. But you can only get the soft top in the two-door configuration. So, or sorry,
four-door.
Four-door configuration.
Yes, it does.
So if you have a two-door, you have to get the hard top. So let's talk about what we're doing today.
Yes.
So we have a website called TFL Bids. It's an auction site. Anybody can submit an auction. We strongly encourage you to check it out if you're looking at selling your unique SUV or 4x4 or off-roader. And we also use it to sell our company SUVs and off-roaders.
That's right.
And we buy these vehicles to long-term test. We typically hold on to them for a year. And like I said, after a year, people get super bored of them. And then ultimately, we kind of get bored of them. You know, we want to push the envelope with new videos from new vehicles. So we bought this Volkswagen Touareg, which is kind of like the ultimate mommy car in a lot of ways. It doesn't look very cool. Kind of this roly-poly SUV from the early 2000s. But I had heard through the grapevine that they had a low-range transfer case and locking diffs. So I said, let's take a gamble on it. And it was a gamble that turned out to be the single, I think, most impressive vehicle I've ever driven, period.
But it was also when it was brand new, right? It was a tour de force of technology, right? It had air suspension like this one does. It has V8 engines. It had diesel engines also, right? It had
not just any diesel though.
V10.
5-liter V10.
It had a
diesel.
V10 engine. Wasn't in Europe there was also W12 versions of this?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this was insane. And as complicated as it is, I was always worried about that something will break.
Yep.
It'll be like $4,000 to fix it.
Yep.
But it never broke.
Yeah, so the previous owners put $12,000 into it. So they took care of all the major repairs. Thank you to those folks. But yeah, so in the 2 years we owned it, we put over 10,000 miles on it. Keep in mind, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but we drive all the other vehicles. It's
right.
But 10,000 miles of a lot of off-roading and road tripping, and using it like a
and hard off-roading.
Yeah, in some cases, and it just it never failed to come back for more. For a vehicle that has got that much technology in it, and air suspension, and crazy sensors, and they're known for throwing codes at every single little thing. They just keep coming back for more, and it was such a great vehicle. It's the only car, and I think I can say this with a lot of confidence, one of the only vehicles I've ever driven that is comfortable doing 120, 130 miles an hour, on the Autobahn, and then flipping a couple switches, and it'll do 90% of the Rubicon.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Insane, the bandwidth.
And we put chunkier tires on it, right? So it is quite capable because tires is, a big deal, right? Tire is where, it really meets the road or off-road. So, and this guy on TFLbids, 2004 Touareg V8 is at $8,000.
Right, and it's not perfect, so it's got hail damage on it.
Yes, it does.
But apart from that, I mean, air conditioning works. The seats are so good. The seats are so comfortable, and you've got memory seats on the driver and the passenger. 4 heated seats, dual zone automatic climate control, parking sensors in the front and back with these crazy indicators.
Yeah.
It's got factory navigation in 04, factory keyless entry where you grab the handle and don't need the key. Oh, insane. And it all works, which is cool. So love it, but unfortunately I think
has to go.
Yeah, we've got too many cars incoming. And
yeah, Zach.
A couple things I wanted to get to with you guys. Justin Case submitted a $5 super chat.
Yep.
Saying, love the live show. Hope you all buy a Bronco first edition. We do too.
Yeah, I said we're working on it.
Thank you, Justin.
Doing our best for sure.
Eric H. was also asking, do you still have the LR3?
We do not.
No, that was another painful one. The LR3 is also one of my favorite vehicles, but it's not quite as impressive on the road. So the Volkswagen's equally kind of good on and off road. The LR3 was still kind of a whale on the road. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so my dad Roman promised that if we get rid of our V8 Touareg, at some point we would get a V10 TDI. So hopefully that's coming soon.
Really?
Hopefully, yes. That reliability nightmare with the V10s.
Yeah, well, anything on the V10 TDI, you have to pull the engine.
Yeah, like starter, engine out.
No, I would vote against that.
No, I think you're wrong, Andre. I'm going to vote for it.
Really?
So the bidding is currently up to $8,000. The reserve has been met, so it's going to sell today, which is just... it's great for somebody, but it's not great for me. And Andre, why don't we talk a little bit about some of the stuff we've been up to?
Yeah, so we traveled last week quite a lot, actually. The whole team did. And we went to the Bronco in Austin, Texas. As you know, you've probably seen Bronco Week coverage on TFL Car. Today we published one video on off-road, right? It's our first dirt off-road review where Tommy and I could actually talk about our driving impressions, all this stuff, which was really cool to finally kind of share that with you guys on the new Bronco. And tomorrow we have a video coming on car, which you and I did a 0 to 60 on the Bronco.
Yes.
Yes. So that's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, so we have the on-road review coming tomorrow. We drove the turbocharged 2.3 with the manual.
Yes.
A 0 to 60, Badlands 4-door soft tops.
7-speed manual.
7-speed manual,
Yes.
That's right.
But we did not use the crawler gear for 0 to 60. That would
be pretty silly. So let's answer some questions, Andre.
Yeah.
So is Ford going to continue to sell the 2021 Bronco into 2022 since all the recent delays? We've been looking into this. Apparently, they're going to build as many 21s as they can before they switch over to the 2022, but I think they're giving people options. If you're a reservation holder, they give you the option to switch yours to 2022 because obviously if you go to sell it down the road, potential resale differences, right? You might have more resale if it's a newer model.
If it's a newer model.
But it's been a debacle, the rollout. It's just been...
Did you see what happened over the weekend? Michigan and Detroit area had lots of rain. There was some flooding. There was reportedly, there's a Jeep factory that flooded and some cars got damaged. And also Ford was disrupted in their deliveries. Dude, can anything else go wrong?
I know, it's
at this point?
Yeah, it's a mess. So D. Smith says, any updates on the F-150 3-liter V6 Power Stroke?
No updates. And actually, we haven't tested one in a while. We tested the 2018 model, as you probably have seen on the TFL truck. We haven't tested one since then, but they're still available. They're still selling the new 2021 F-150s with the V6 turbo diesel, the Power Stroke. So we just haven't had the chance to get a hold of it or test it. Most of the trucks we're reviewing from Ford are either EcoBoost or hybrids. That's what they send us.
Very true, yes. And we asked for different trims, right? But usually Ford tries to put trucks into the fleet that they feel like showcases their newest and greatest technology.
And they're mostly loaded.
Mostly loaded. Yeah. And they also put trucks in that they're trying to get the word out to consumers. I think it's very interesting that they specifically have been giving us only EcoBoosts.
And no Power Strokes.
Or 5 liters.
Or not, yeah. 5 liter, it's been a while too.
Right. I mean, it's pretty much only EcoBoost, and that, I think, is the direction they're going. And it's not just, F-150, it's Bronco, it's Ranger, it's Mustang, right? It's all over the board.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting question. So next question, what's the best car for a high school student? How about a 2004 Volkswagen Touareg? No.
For $8,000?
$8,000, no. I think anything kind of small, I would do small and relatively affordable and reliable. That would be my...
Or maybe even used.
For sure used.
Yeah,
yes.
For sure used, because you don't want to buy well, you could buy something brand new, but what if, you go to school, somebody scratches it?
It's gonna, whatever it is,
you're gonna bump it.
It's gonna end up in a bush. It's just, it will 100% end up in a bush. I think like a second or third gen RAV4 is a really good high school car. I knew a lot of friends who drove those into bushes. And they seem to make it out in one piece or two. So yeah, I would look into something like that. Justin, Andre, is the F-150 okay after the overheating while on the Ike towing?
Thank you for asking. We did publish that video. It was half-ton versus heavy-duty truck, because I wanted to make this video for a very long time, because we've got lots of questions. Which truck should I buy, half-ton or heavy-duty, to tow about 9,000 or 10,000 pounds? We were towing 10,000 pounds. My truck did have overheating issues. It is okay. I've driven it home, back here, to the office today. The brakes are fine, because the brakes were also getting kind of warm on the way down the mountain. Transmission shifts well, the engine feels good. I think I dodged the bullet, but you know what happened? The truck saved itself, basically. It was derating itself, as you can see in the video for the Ike Gauntlet. It was slowing down, and I think it was just doing all those things to protect itself, because it was getting hot. So, yeah, the truck is okay. So
Alejandro asked a good question about the Touareg on TFLbids. He said, will you ship the Touareg out of the U.S.? So we're not in charge of the shipping. It's important to note that's on the buyer's end of it. Yeah. So arranging for transport. So if you want to try to arrange transports, I mean, I guess have at it.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. So we've got, Dan was also asking about the health of Andre's truck. We actually towed with it again today with no problem. We did a really interesting video. We just bought this little tiny electric car called a Chevy Spark EV.
The blueberry?
The little blueberry, or as I call it, the blue grape, which makes Case very mad because he says grapes aren't blue, but
yes.
Anyways, it's a small, affordable EV. We bought it for $7,500, and it was called the California Compliance Car, so they only sold them initially in California and Oregon. But the craziest thing about this tiny little hatchback is it had 140 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque.
Well, it's an electric motor.
Yeah, but Andre, it's the size of a shoe, and it's front-wheel drive, and the tires are like that thick. Why do you need 400 pound-feet of torque? It's nuts. But anyways, today we were seeing how far it would go on a single charge, and not like, oh, it's starting to get low, let's go find a place to plug it in. Like, I drove it till it was zero. Like, it was like, all right, I'm done. I'm all out of power. Please help. 0 miles of range, 0%.
And we did a similar thing with an electric Zero motorcycle recently.
Yes. So I was driving it from Boulder up to Fort Collins, and then eventually at 287 on the way to Laramie.
Yeah, almost in Wyoming.
Yep. It started showing about 5 miles of range, and then it started flashing battery indicator, so we pull off to a back road, and the darn little thing just kept going. I mean, we drove over 70 miles on a single charge, which is pretty good considering the car
Through the mountains. Yeah.
under ideal conditions, according to the EPA, will do 82.
When it was new.
When it was new, which was
Yeah.
8 years ago. So we
Yeah.
did 70 through the mountains. And eventually we are like on this, it was too slow eventually for the main road, so we pulled onto this little back road. It was dirt through the prairies and then like ground to a halt in the middle of a field. It was hilarious. But the cool part is we then drove Andre's F-150 behind the little Chevy
With a trailer.
with a trailer. And we wanted to see, using Andre's Power Boost Hybrid, could we A, charge up the Spark so we could drive it up on the trailer,
Yes.
and then B, tow the Spark home while charging it on the move.
Yes.
It was pretty cool.
And the answer is coming at the end of this week to TFL Truck.
Right.
Yes. So we did that video, which is really interesting because a lot of you guys also asked, can I tow a camping trailer and also power some of my accessories in the trailer with the hybrid? So this kind of answers that question as well.
And yes, you can.
Yes.
As
and
it turns
and the
out.
answer is yes.
Yeah, it was a really kind of interesting video. I actually think that there is going to be, you can steal this business idea, by the way. I don't have a trademark on this yet. I think there's going to be an interesting kind of service that will need to be created as electric cars become more and more popular. Because we're not going to be the only ones driving these little EVs till they're dead, right? People are going to do it accidentally.
Yes.
And
so
then
you need a recovery service.
yeah, but what about recovery while you charge? You know,
Yeah.
and it could be as simple as like somebody with an F-150 in a trailer. But I think that's what it's going to kind of pop up around this new world.
Yeah, and I think so, and especially in states like Colorado where things are spread out, right? There's cities that are big distances away, so that could be interesting. I wanted to mention the VW on TFLbids.com reserve is met, so it's sold to whoever is the
Highest bidder, yes. And then once again, the buyer will be in charge of either coming to pick it up or getting it shipped. So that is what's going to happen there.
Then we have also a 1995 Jeep Grand Cherokee ZJ for sale. It just started. This auction on this Grand Cherokee will continue until next week because Monday is a holiday next week. It'll close on Tuesday.
It's pretty cool, actually. So ZJs are the first generation Grand Cherokee. Very basic vehicles, but very comfortable, infinitely modifiable. And this is something cool. I mean, it's what we like to do here is we don't like to just showcase, these really high, expensive, really big dollar vehicles. We also like to showcase vehicles on TFLbids that have been driven and that have, are not perfect, but have been loved and, are looking for a new owner. So this is really cool. It's bright red. It's a 95, over 200,000 miles, but it's a 4-liter straight six, which are just bomb-proof.
Yeah.
So pretty cool stuff.
And also, you recently drove, not this one, but a similar one at the brand new Grand Cherokee L launch. Or you did a Classics video about it.
Yes, but
Did
that
you get
one,
to drive it?
No, I couldn't
Oh,
drive it. It had
oh.
8,000 miles on it. It was really, really
Ooh,
cool.
It's like pristine.
Yes, for sure. Andre, another question for you. Have you guys considered buying another 2500 HD project truck for a long-term review, like a Ram or a Chevy?
Well, we have considered it. We don't have any immediate plans, either brand new or used. Because I think also a used truck could be pretty interesting, a heavy-duty truck that's used. So we don't have plans right now, but I think we need another heavy-duty truck in our fleet. Because our fleet, well, we've been selling a few vehicles, so our fleet is getting smaller.
Yes, that's the goal, so we can bring in some new interesting stuff. Sean says, any chance in driving a Mexican Jimny? This is a little tiny Suzuki four-wheel drive. It looks like a baby G-Wagon in a lot of ways. Yeah, hopefully one day we can drive one. They don't bring them here to the States.
Right.
But we could probably track one down eventually. So another question, can Andre do another video on the Bronco Sport configurator?
Really? You want to see another? I can. I think the more interesting configurator could be the Bronco, the big Bronco.
Oh, big Bronco.
Because we haven't done as much detail as I think we should. We've done one on the Bronco Sport, and if I do one on the Bronco soon, we can actually include some Bronco Sport stuff as well.
Right on. Matthew asked a question. So I actually, this has not really been made public yet, but I just took delivery of my new base model Wrangler.
So you ordered one?
Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
So just a couple days ago. It was something I have been saving up for a long time. And let me tell you what, it's very interesting in this job. We talk about vehicle prices a lot. We talk about how some vehicles compared to other vehicles price-wise. It's a very different thing when you have to write that check and then account for taxes and insurance, and it was
and
really,
registration and everything else.
yeah.
Right?
So I couldn't afford a really expensive one, so I bought a very, very, very base model Sport with two options basically. The Willys package, which gives you better tires and the rear limited slip and the rock rails and some cool stuff.
Okay.
And air conditioning. So I splurged.
The Sport did not have air conditioning
No, dude.
before?
I kid you not. Yeah, it's got those two things. It has roll-up windows. It has no power locks. You got to get your key out to unlock the vehicle.
Both sides?
Both sides and the trunk.
Okay.
It has no power mirrors. The Uconnect screen is about the size of an old...
Postage stamp?
No, dude, it's like an old flip phone screen.
Okay.
Really happy with it, though, so far. I'm really excited about it.
So you'll make a video about this, right?
Yes,
Really
so
soon.
that's coming
Yeah.
soon. But Matthew says, so I'm going to do a video exactly on this, but I guess we'll talk about it. As a new Jeep owner, did the Bronco make you ponder your recent purchase? Yeah, I mean, absolutely it did. So we drove it last week, and I loved it. I mean, it's a really, really good vehicle. I don't think I am upset, though, I got the Wrangler. I know I'm not upset I got the Wrangler. I'm really happy with it, because as good as the Bronco is, there are still one or two things that have me concerned. So first of all, first-year vehicle, right?
Brand new generation.
Brand new generation.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be the person to work the kinks out.
That's fair.
Wrangler's been around since 18, right? And the early ones had those frame weld issues. But the 3.6 Pentastar and the manual transmission are
It's been there for years.
ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just go and go and go.
And also, you bought a manual transmission. There was a question here.
Yes.
Manual transmission.
Stick.
Yeah, stick. And V6, like you said, Pentastar.
Yep.
So you're not having regrets?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Because the other big thing, two other big things, is I really wanted a soft top. And for some reason, Ford doesn't let you get the soft top on the two-door.
Well, not yet.
And the
at
biggest deal was, and for those of you that have been watching for a long time, you know that I like small vehicles. But the maneuverability, the fuel efficiency, all of it, and especially in Colorado, I like having the maneuverability of the Wrangler. The Bronco is a great vehicle, but it feels behind the wheel so much bigger, right? And more
and heavier.
And yeah, and
it is heavier.
It is, yeah, it's a lot
It is-
heavier.
it is heavier,
And I
yeah.
think a lot of people will appreciate that, because for a lot of people, the Wrangler is kind of too small and too tight and kind of too claustrophobic. But because I have no friends, right? Like the rear seat doesn't matter too much, the trunk doesn't matter too much.
Of course you have friends.
So I like having such a maneuverable vehicle. So no, I don't regret it. I think that the Bronco will attract a lot of new people to the segment. But if you're a current JL owner, I'm not sure they did enough to convince me to sell my JL and get the Bronco. In a lot of ways, it's better. I mean, it just is. It's better on the road. The engines are really potent. The interior is good. The seats are way better. The steering's way better. But it's not good.
It's not like next
Yeah, it's not
level.
good enough to the point where I'd be like, oh, I got to, step up to this. So it's interesting. But yeah, I appreciate the comment, and that was my long-winded explanation.
And we did have, I think Jason had a question about barbecue in Texas. We did have some brisket.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
we did. I don't know if I ate anything that trip, Andre. I was shot nonstop.
We produced like 9 videos or something from there.
Yep.
So we did have brisket, and Tommy forgot about it because he was so busy.
Yes.
But it was good.
So,
It was
Andre,
good.
where's your buhanka?
Yes, so thank you for the question. Buhanka, there's some progress. It's getting loaded on a ship as we speak. So I'm really excited. I hope everything works well. I saw it, basically it was sitting in the Russian port for 2 months. And then a couple days ago, I got a message that it's being loaded into the container that did not have roll-off, roll-on service there. And it, under its own power, it drove into the container.
Wow, good thing it hasn't broken down yet.
So somebody actually jumped it. The battery was a little weak after 2 months. Somebody jumped it, it started up, and it drove into a container. And that's all I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, speaking of driving up and going into containers, we haven't talked about this yet, but I'm just going to talk about it now because I'm really excited about it. Is my dad listening? No, we're good.
No.
We're going to do a new series here coming up. We did this No Pavement Needed series where we had a budget of $5K, and then you guys bought 3 trucks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Took it to Moab, and it was pretty popular. I
Yeah.
think people liked it. And we're going to do something sort of similar again, but with a much smaller budget and not limited to trucks. So we're going to do $2,500 across the state of Colorado on dirt.
And each one is going to buy, well, 3 vehicles again, right? And this time it's you. You're one of the presenters. It's Nathan, and it's me, and Roman is also involved, but he's kind of the master of ceremonies, right?
Right, yeah.
And we cannot know which vehicle you're buying, and we don't know what Nathan is buying. You don't know what I'm buying.
Right, it's going to be total surprise.
Yeah.
I tried
for sure. For real.
I tried to get Andre to tell me in the way on the car over, but he wouldn't tell me.
I did not.
I had some good ideas. I was going to do a MG. I kid you not. This is the name of the vehicle.
Midget?
The Midget. The MG Midget.
It was from a different time.
Different time. It was a different time. That's right, Zach. Also known as the Austin Healey Sprite. Maybe we'll go with that. I was going to buy an Austin Healey Sprite and then put ATV tires on it. I thought that would be really fun. But
how's that going?
I'm not sure the Big Cheese is going to be happy with that.
So what if anything breaks on this car?
Well,
Would you be able to fix it?
No. Do you think I could fix anything? Andre, you really think I could fix anything? No, but...
So Old and British is out.
Well, British Leyland has a reputation, but the Touareg has a reputation too, and that was perfect. So I'm going to ride this wave of good reliability luck. And maybe we'll go that route, but I don't know.
So yeah, it should be the truck series was popular, right? People appreciated at least, less expensive vehicles. I think this new series will be also very, very popular. Speaking of not very expensive vehicles, we have 2 GMC trucks coming up for sale very soon. Next week, we're going to have a 1997 GMC Sierra K1500. It's already on the site. TFLbids.com has this 97 GMC Sierra. You can check it out. It will start next week. And then we also have actually a friend of mine who lives nearby where I live is selling his heavy-duty GMC Sierra.
Sweet.
So that is also coming up. So if you want good four-wheel drive trucks, especially a heavy-duty truck, check out TFLbids.com. We're going to have 2 of them very, very soon.
So in 3 minutes, probably one of my favorite vehicles of all time is now going to be sold, which is just devastating. It's currently up to $8,000. The reserve is met, and someone's going home with the Tough T Touareg.
And it's been there was a lot of action on this auction.
Yes, there was. It was pretty cool to watch.
Lots of bidding.
I'm not going to say that it's going to be perfect for the rest of its life because it still has a lot of electrical, components in it. But genuinely, from our experience, the last 2 years we've had to replace the battery twice because the first time we put a battery in, it was too small.
Okay.
The battery on these things is like
they're like boat batteries.
Like a tank.
They're giant.
Yeah, it's like a $300 battery, and it lives underneath the driver's seat, of course. So we replaced that twice because the first one was too small, and we thought we could get away with it. So we got a bigger one, and then I'm trying to think if there's any other major issues. It's got those BFG KO2s on it.
I've driven it like a month ago. I took it to, I think I went to the airport in it.
Wow, what a trip, Andre, to the airport.
So it was a 60-mile trip.
Sorry, I'm just being
No, but it was just a great commuter also, like you said.
It's not very fuel efficient.
No, it's not fuel efficient.
The thing weighs like 5,300 pounds.
Or 1 million pounds.
Dude,
I'm not sure.
It's so overbuilt. But yeah, it's cool.
I like it. Some of you guys are providing some ideas for our cheap vehicle series.
Eagle Talon will not make the trip.
AMC Eagle would be an interesting choice.
It could be cool.
Yeah, AMC Eagle would be really cool.
Yeah.
The issue is, quite honestly, is the used car market is so hot. Vehicles that, 6 months ago would be worth $1,000 are now going for
like,
$3,000.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
It's just like, my dad said $2,500. I'm like, what are we going to buy? Bicycles? So it's a very, 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 very hard challenge.
Yeah, and like you said, Gage, also GMT 400 GM trucks, one of them, which is the GMC Sierra coming up next week. They're gaining value, popularity. They're going through the roof.
So to be brutally honest with you, I was looking around and I found one. I think it's too rough though. I was looking around for the series of doing a 2004 Volkswagen Touareg. Because I knew that this one was being sold. I was trying to figure out a way to worm myself into another one.
Another one?
But for $2,500, you can't get a good Touareg.
No, it will be like no floor.
I found one. It was pretty clean. It had 251,000 miles on this car. 251,000 miles on one of the most...
Was it local or somewhere else?
No, it's an Aurora. But the transmission's acting up, so it probably needs valve bodies. That was a pretty common issue.
Oh, jeez.
Anyways,
John Hershey said, I paid $2,500 for my Volvo XC70, and it's amazing.
yeah, I bet you couldn't do that now, though. Maybe he did do it now. Maybe I'm just really bad at buying cars.
How long ago was that? Yeah, I don't think you can do it right now.
Oh, Andre, we got another bid, $8,400 on my Volkswagen.
No way.
On the Volkswagen, sorry.
$8,400.
That's crazy.
That's quite a bit of money. What is like the blue book on this?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, I've been finding that the blue book right now in this market is so wrong.
It's wrong.
It's just like, you look at blue book. I remember looking at, I don't know, it was like an Xterra, and I was talking to the guy. I'm like, so blue book is $1,000 under what you are asking. And he's like, no, I won't take it. I'm like, all right. So I walked away. And then I called him back 2 days later. And he was like, oh, it sold for $2,500 over my asking.
So
like
blue book is wrong.
It's just crazy,
completely
dude.
wrong.
Yeah, just crazy. I'd sell you a Focus wagon for $1,500. The issue is my dad is just going over some pretty tricky mountain passes. And I'm considering the fact that we may need four-wheel drive.
Yeah, we need to make it over at least like an Imogene pass,
right? Which is
pretty serious,
pretty tough.
And also go on the highway, probably across the Rockies, and then make it to Utah off-road. So there's a lot that this vehicle needs to do.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if a Focus can do it, but maybe a Civic can do it.
Maybe my Civic can do it. That's an interesting question. We got that comment a lot.
Yeah.
Are you going to get a Suzuki Jimny? We talked about it. They don't sell them here in the States, unfortunately. So I think it may have sold.
Is it gone? The time is almost over, but if there is like a last-minute bidding,
I wonder if
it may have been extended.
That last bid may have been retracted or something.
Well, sometimes it gets cached, so if you reload the page,
interesting. Okay.
It may or may not have the same.
Well,
auction ends at 5, and it's past 5 at this point.
That's a bummer. So someone bought the Volkswagen. I mean, it's great. It's great.
Tommy just wanted to hold out. He wanted to hang on to his Touareg.
Yes, I love this Volkswagen. I really do like this car a lot because I'm genuinely, and I know I go on, oh, it's amazing. It's still Volkswagen. You're probably thinking, wow, if it was so amazing, why aren't they worth more, and why don't more people know about them? It is. Seriously, the most bandwidth of any car I think I've ever driven. Like Range Rovers are very good on-road, and they're pretty good off-road too. But they don't feel as happy doing the kind of stuff that a Touareg can do off-road. And on-road oftentimes are pretty big and heavy. And then if you get like an SVR Range Rover, they're very good on-road, and then they can't go off-road.
Yeah, totally.
But like the Volkswagen just was like whoosh, right down the middle. Super cool stuff.
Yeah.
So it looks like that came to an end, but we still have the Grand Cherokee up there. If someone is looking to buy a different vehicle, it looks like a cool Grand Cherokee.
And we should have at least one GMC truck maybe this week and another one next week. So we have more trucks loading up.
Yeah, for sure. Let's answer some more questions, Andre, before
really quick.
Would TFL ever consider a fan meet at Barbecue HQ for fans to attend? I don't think we have a big enough HQ or a barbecue.
Or maybe nobody will show up.
Nobody will show up. Yeah.
So up this year and last year, of course, of the pandemic and lockdowns, we've been really, haven't planned anything. So last time we planned something, where was this? I think at the Texas State Fair. We tried to do a get-together. It didn't work very well because, maybe we didn't get the word out, exactly the right way, and not many people showed up. So
I'm looking at this auction, Andre. It's still counting down, 34 seconds. I think it's been extended because someone else put in a last-minute bid.
It can happen.
Interesting.
So if there's last-minute bidding, the auction will extend just by a few minutes.
It's also worth noting, not that this is going to change anyone's view in the last 30 seconds. I'll speak really fast. Most Touaregs had center diff locks, but it was a really rare option to get a rear diff lock, and this one has the optional rear diff lock, which is a super kind of unusual thing. So
that should raise the value right there.
Yeah, bit higher.
Yeah, Dan Atkinson answered that question for Aldi Moore, who had it in the comments, so appreciate you doing that.
Yep.
Also, with the caching issues, again, as Andre was saying, if you have issues, if it's not showing correctly, just reload it a couple times. It'll
show up.
We're working on it. Yep. Dan actually just bought our 6-shooter truck. Remember we bought this parts truck?
Yeah, and we have a video on Classics about that.
Yes, that truck was supposed to just be used for parts.
For parts, and it has another life. And Dan Atkinson and David Morrow, they built a crane on it with a winch. And they lifted a log up in the air, and now Dan has it in Georgia, and Dan will be using it for some of his projects, actually lifting things and using it as a cherry picker.
Right. I never intended that vehicle to have a life beyond us because we just bought it as a parts truck, right?
We needed the bed off of it,
Yeah,
some grill components.
Because we were doing it for that charity build with the F350.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that it'll keep living on, which is pretty cool. Interesting question, Andre, from D. Smith. Have you heard about Ram putting a 2-liter i4 in the new Jeep or a 3-liter i6 in the Ram truck and discontinuing the 5.7 Hemi?
This room has been around for years,
Is it?
actually. Let's make this kind of this last question, maybe. I think it's nicknamed the Hurricane engine, this inline 6 that Stellantis and FCA have been working on supposedly and rumored. I haven't had any really good evidence that it's real and it's coming. The latest rumor that the new Grand Cherokee short wheelbase will get it, you know, the short wheelbase brand new Grand Cherokee Jeep, and maybe it'll go into the trucks and maybe it'll be a part of their plug-in hybrid or hybrid system. I don't know, because they haven't said, you know, officially anything about it. So
did you know
we don't know
that the Hurricane name has been used in a Jeep engine in the past?
No. Mm-hmm. Which engine?
It was around the same time you were born. You probably
Me?
remember it as a child, yeah.
No, I wasn't. That was in Soviet Union. I don't remember anything.
Yep, they used it in 1950. In the CJ3B, it was introduced, and then onward to the CJ5. No, I'm just.
I wasn't born in the 50s, Tommy.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Okay.
Andre, you're supposed to laugh at that joke. It was supposed to be.
Sorry, I'm tired.
Oh,
I've
boy.
been towing all
Andre
day.
needs to get home and go to bed.
I've been towing a trailer all day.
Yeah, we had a hard time putting our Chevy Spark EV on the trailer today because it was really low. It was
has no
comedy
clearance.
of errors. We're like in the middle of the butthole of nowhere in like this field, and I'm on this dirt road in this
And
little.
there's nobody there.
Yeah, this little electric Chevy that has no electricity in it. It's like a back road, so we're like, oh, just block the whole road. Of course, we block the road, and then the one car comes up and is like, "You guys need help? What's going on?" And he's very nice.
And then 4 trucks came up.
Oh, I also have to say, if you decide to get stranded in EV, get stranded north of Fort Collins in the middle fields, because every single person that came up to us was like the nicest guy.
And they said, "Do you need help? Can we offer you help?"
Yeah, and they were
All
always
this
they were
stuff.
all in Cummins or Power Strokes, right?
It was all
Just
diesel
like,
trucks.
"Blah, blah, blah," and here I am in this little Chevy Spark, just like, and they all came up and they're like, "Do you need help?" And we're like, "Nope, we're good." So
Well, there you have it. The Touareg is gone. We have more stuff for sale, so we'll see you next week.
yeah, for sure. Let's go get some sleep.
Okay. Good night, guys, or something.
It's 5:00 p.m., Andre. Oh boy.